Go a lot more into it, inshallah. Yeah, thank you for joining us. We're going to be having this program every night except the 27th night. And I was looking to make it transformational, inshallah. So without further ado.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Before we start, we always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless this gathering on this 21st night. Alhamdulillah, that's the first odd night of Ramadan. It also coincides with a Friday night, and it's raining, which is extra barakah, inshallah ta'ala. So make sure you guys make a ton of ta'ala time. It's okay if you're going to be lacking on sleep tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, but tonight is 100% a special night. Whether or not it's the Qadr, it's an odd night, it's raining, it's a Friday night, please maximize that. Before we start, inshallah ta'ala, I just want to share this really interesting statistic I came across. About 80% of people who attend lectures and seminars and workshops, they walk away with nothing. Change nothing in their day-to-day. And they walked in, it was cool, they got a nice high, and then they left. One interesting thing about this stat is they did not factor in mass historian. So mass historian, you guys are special. I heard you guys are built different. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll see. Bismillah. To draw some context, inshallah ta'ala, just want to give you guys a top-down view. Gaza has been genocided for 16 months. We're talking about over 50,000 Muslims gone. And not one Muslim nation, in a very significant or meaningful way, was able to impact anything. 16 months. Syria has been choked, starved, abused for over 50 years, religiously, educationally, financially, on every single level. Doing horrible. The Uyghurs in China, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with them and all the oppressed people around the world, 16 years they've been genocided. Since 2009, they've been rounded all up, and they're just being attacked. 16 years. I can't even remember what 16 years was like. That's where we are. But we weren't always there, subhanAllah. There was once upon a time where Muslims were the largest empire on the face of the planet. The largest. Forget Rome, forget Persia. We did that to them. The largest, the most powerful, the richest. There was a time where a Muslim would walk into a room full of non-Muslims and everyone would just go, he's a Muslim. Dignity, honor, respect, izzah. That's what we were. And now, subhanAllah, you look around and you see our countries and they're just being chewed and spit out by other countries, and it doesn't look very good. The Muslims that were once the founders of modern science, I'm talking physics, law, I'm talking biology, chemistry, astronomy, every single science you can think of, I promise you, either the founder or the guy who put it on the map is a Muslim. Now we talk about brain rot on TikTok. Now, alhamdulillah, I'm not trying to draw the scenario, I'm not trying to give you this context and let you know, hey, we're bad, we're down, bad cause, it's over. Negativity will be addressed tomorrow, inshallah. That's not what we're here for today. Okay? I'm here because this is where we are. And when you talk about it, alhamdulillah, you go and you ask your friends, you ask the uncles, the aunties, everyone will give you an amazing solution. You know, wallahi, we need to change the education system, ban social media, sell TikTok. Someone will give you something. Right? Some guy will say, Mufti needs to come to my masjid, and then and only then will Hidayah come. You'll hear solutions, alhamdulillah, out of you. But I'll tell you, there's a problem with these solutions, right? In strategic thinking, there's something called altitude thinking. Okay? Altitude thinking means you look at a picture, but you look at it from 10,000 feet up in the air. You look at a really big picture. And then you zoom into 5,000. And then you study it from that angle. And then you zoom in all the way to the ground level, and you're like, now I see. The details are in the weeds. It's all the way down there. how can we fix it from here and here and here? And subhanAllah, the genius at this altitude thinking is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The smartest man to ever walk this earth, was he by far, bar none? I will challenge you and I will die on that hill. He, subhanAllah, could think on 10,000 feet, ground level, everything in between, with a smile on his face, with the biggest responsibility and burden on this planet. To perfection. That was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, granted, that's where we are. That's where we were. Solutions are somewhere in the middle. But these solutions are like 10,000 feet high up in the air. How do we start from here, where we are, and get all the way up to that? Okay? And so, subhanAllah, let's take three approaches. I always like to draw on interdisciplinary sciences, so that people in the room, inshallah, could relate to at least one of them. Let's look at a historical. If we look at a historical analogy, the Prophet ﷺ was the most influential, again, bar none, influential man to ever walk this planet. Not my words, your Western scholars want to say that. And we already know that. Most influential man, changed the course of history. Persia fell because of Islam. Rome also fell because of Islam. Right? The world's largest religion, most impactful in history, led to all these sciences and math and astronomy, all these discoveries, Islam. The most influential man didn't come on day one and say, education system. No. You know what he did? Focused on one. He went and he focused on one person. And then another one. And then another one. And then before you know it, you see the dominoes fall. And then the wildfire spreads. Let's look at it from a mathematical perspective. You guys all here, are great at math. Exponential growth. Exponential growth is this concept in math where you have 1, and the 1 becomes 2, and the 2 becomes 4, and the 4 becomes 8, and the 8 becomes 16, and before you know it, the original 1 is now some large number. Same thing with biology. If you look at cell division, 1 cell becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, and before you know it, overwhelmingly large number of cells, all from 1. And so, subhanAllah, when we look at these things, Allah has these laws that govern the universe. But when you and I sit and we talk about how to fix problems, we're like, no, it's the education, the whole thing has to go. But we have to start small. The Prophet did it like this. Allah did it like this with math. Allah did it like this with biology. Why do you think we have our own solutions that are just magically going to fix all this stuff? It's not going to work like that. Now, this lecture is not going to be, let me take a step back. I like to use 𝗵𝗲, as we say in Arabic, or colloquial terms we grew up with, terms you heard your school teacher saying in 4th grade or something. One of the ones I remember vividly was, it takes one bad apple to spoil a bunch. Okay? One bad apple spoils a bunch. But this lecture is not going to be about apples. It's not going to be about avoiding bad apples. Okay? This lecture is just about a different approach to how you can have that massive positive influence. That massive positive Muslim influence. How do we get that? Okay? And then how can we implement these ummah-wide solutions, inshallah ta'ala, based on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to do and what the Prophet did. So theory and practice. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Where we stand, the world has 8 billion people. Remember, now we're looking at something from 10,000 feet high. 8 billion people in the entire world. Every single one of them is living their own life. There's so many different things happening simultaneously, so many different cultures, so many different weathers, everything is different. 8 billion people. You zoom in all the way to the bottom, and you see one person. One person. One main character. One unique story. Just one. That's on the ground level. Now, inshallah ta'ala, you guys are or will be young professionals, inshallah ta'ala, in a few years. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you in your studies and bless you in your careers and grant you your dream jobs, Ya Rabbil Alameen. One day, inshallah, for your dream job, you'll be sitting across the table, and there's going to be a hiring manager. Your future boss will be sitting across the table. And your future boss will ask you about your unique stories. Like, tell me about Ahmed, or tell me about Sarah. And then you'll start telling them about your work experience. And you'll tell them about, wallahi, this is what I did at school, this is my side project, these are my hobbies, my weaknesses is overworking, you got the whole thing. And inshallah, all you guys have that dream job interview, yeah? But I may want to grant you that dream job. You guys will all have an interview like that. Except you'll have that interview with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not a boss. You'll have that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will sit in for an interview. Picture yourself one-on-one with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the thought of a boss or a hiring manager interviewing you makes you nervous and people's hearts start palpitating and people start rushing and getting nervous and slurring words, what are you going to do when you look and around you is nothing? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to you. What do you do? When Allah asks you, why did you do that? And you're like, you see, Allah, what had happened was... What do you do in that interview? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking you, and He knows the answer too. What are you going to say for yourself? Minor detail. Every single human, jinn, and angel is watching your answer. I'm talking to your third grade teacher. I'm talking to your mom. I'm talking to your neighbor. The sweet old lady from middle school. I don't know. Everyone will be watching you fumble your answers. And everyone will be watching your entire life like a movie. And then the movie pauses, and Allah's like, why'd you do that? It's uncomfortable. And the world watches. The malaika on your right, the one that's like, it's all nonsense. He's watching too. Everyone is watching. Your kids who see you, inshallah, or one day will see you as a perfect image, are also watching Allah and Allah did. And keep in mind, on that day, that interview you have, there is not a single person who will be like, that was on me. That was on me. Oh, wasn't him, it was me. No one is going to jump in for you. No one is allowed to speak but you. There is no one you will not willingly throw into the fire to save yourself. The person you love the most. You're like, oh, look, just get rid of them. I'll take one hasana. Throw my wife, throw my husband, throw my mom, throw my dad, throw my grandma. Anyone. Allah just give me one hasana. You'll throw everything away. That's the interview. And everything that we do in this life should be with that interview in mind. Because ultimately that's where we're all going. Allah tells you, you will die, you will get questioned, and there's this thing called 𝗧𝗵𝗲 where you and I are going to have a chat. That's going to happen one day. And it's dark and it's gloomy, and I understand it's uncomfortable for us to even think about it, but that's the point. SubhanAllah. You ever did something wrong and the principal or your mom or your dad pulls you aside and says, why'd you do that? You're like, oh, no, why'd you do that? And they keep pressing you and pressing you and pressing you, and sometimes you break. That might happen. That might happen. And on that day, there is no, wallahi, my personality shining through and made up for the resident. No. On that day, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say. There's absolutely nothing. But fish. Khalas, it's done. Your actions are there. Allah knows what you did. Now you have to stand and talk about them. Why? Was it really worth it? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make that interview easy. Ya Rabbil Alameen. For wallahi, that is the hardest test of all. When you face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He is grilling and questioning you, I gave you everything. And you use what I gifted you to disobey me? Why? What's your answer? Allah, have you told me so? You see, I was lazy. I was sleepy. I didn't feel like it. Yawm al-nadama, the day of regret, that's what it is. It's the day of regret. So if we know this now, why wait till then? If we know we will regret it, why do we delay it? Why do we make believe like it's not there? We live as if we're not going to go through that. Allah tells you, what you're going through it. And that's the interview we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What stands out about that interview is that Allah will ask you about your story and your story alone. Not your brothers, not your sisters, not your mother, not your father, not your neighbor, not your grandma. No one. He'll ask you about your story. Full accountability on you. Why? You. That's the topic of today, inshallah. The topic of today is you. Individualism. You as an individual are solely responsible for you. No one will be asked on your behalf. You will be asked about you, and you will answer about you. Done. SubhanAllah, when Leonard reached out to me, he told me, listen, Sohaib, we want to talk about individualism. I thought individualism bad. And I'll tell you why. Individualism in the Western sense, the way in America and all the other people define it, individualism is absolutely horrid. Individualism in the Western sense is that you put yourself, the individual, in the middle of everything. And everything in your life revolves around that individual. That's individualism from the Western sense. However, individualism in Islam is completely different. Individualism in Islam is the concept that you are ultimately responsible for yourself and no one else. You're all alone. You're on an island, I promise you, just you. That's individualism in Islam. Individualism in the Western sense is the reason why we have a decaying society, by the way. Our society, if you look around us, wallahi, we're failing on every front. Maybe technology is getting better, great, cool. But on every other front, you can always trace it back to individualism. Individualism in the Western sense, where you put yourself in the middle and everything else revolves around you, that is godlessness. That's shirk. Essentially, we as Muslims are told to live our entire lives centered around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I did not create mankind and jinn kind except to worship me. Your life should revolve around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Listen, there's so many pros to that. We'll get to that inshallah. But your entire life has to revolve around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What if you don't have your life revolve around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you put yourself in the middle? Who is now your God? Yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أفرأيت من اتخذ إلهه هواه وضله الله على علم. Have you seen he who has taken his own desires as his Lord? His ilah, his Lord, is now his own desires. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep those people away from us and not allow us to fall into that, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We live in a time where comfort and luxury and leisure and I want to feel better, this is better than that because this makes me feel better. I get it. Wallahi, I get it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in our fitrah the want to seek out comfort. But we can't let that consume us. Even though it's there. Okay, man. We all want comfort. Alhamdulillah. Now the comfort cannot be the nucleus of our lives. What's the nucleus of our lives? Or what should it be? Nothing but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No partners but He. And so individualism in the Western sense places the individual in the middle. Islamic individualism places Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the middle. And it lets you know you alone are responsible, no one else. If Ahmed did something, Ahmed won't answer for that. If Sarah did something, Sarah won't answer for that. Your parents are not jumping in. Your cat is not jumping in. No one is jumping in. Just you. That is individualism in the Western and the Islamic sense. And I do want to touch upon one thing, because I don't want people to misunderstand me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decorated this world. He made it beautiful. My Shaykh was recently telling me 95% of trees and flowers actually serves no vegetation, like no food. But the reason they're there is simply for our eyes to feel that enjoyment. For that pleasure of the eyes. Look how thoughtful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was. 95%. 5%, okay, food, water, all the other good stuff. 95% just so you can look at something and enjoy it because it's a beautiful flower. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to enjoy it, but within reason. Anything out of reason, even if it's halal, will then become risky. Well, someone likes to tell me, man, I remember this. I was in high school, going way back. Someone comes up to me and I'm telling him, the vape is not a good thing. He's like, bro, wallet doesn't hurt, bro. I was like, it does. Wallet does. Trust me, it does. And he's like, but if I only take 2 puffs, it's not going to hurt me. I was like, yes it will. And if something in small portions isn't good, in large portions it's not good. He said, well, you know you could die from drinking water. I was like, bro. That's that shit. Right? So, anything that is halal needs to be observed within balance. Everything is within reason. Anything taken out of that could harm you. Okay? So, halal enjoyment, same thing. Go and have fun and travel the world and live your life and get the more comfortable pillow and do all that stuff. It's fine. But don't let that consume you. Don't let that distract you. Don't let the gifts Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you distract you from the gifter. Let's flip it. Analogy. Imagine you went for 3 weeks and you came up with an awesome idea. I'm going to gift my friend X and Y and Z, and I know he or she is going to love it. It's so dumb. It has a handwritten note, flowers stapled on the side, tissue paper, the whole nut. Perfect. You curated a perfect gift for this person. And you gave it to them to show them your love. You gave them the gift, and then you take the gift, oh my gosh, that's so cool, and they just walk away. How would you feel? Genuinely, how would you feel? You're like, wow, I know the gift was good, but I'm kind of the reason behind the gift. Now imagine you gave someone a gift, beautiful gift. They took the gift. Wow, that's so cool. And then they use the gift against you. What's going on here? I gave you the gift to show you my love, my admiration, my everything. Not only do you take it and forget about me, but you use it to also go against me? You wouldn't do that to a friend. But you do that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Food for thought. Now, let's turn this lecture upside down, inshallah. Let's start going into the positives. Okay? If you're like gonna dampen the mood, sad, doom and gloom, let's put it up, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillah. Okay. How can we have a good interview with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Okay? Came up with a very small acronym. K-A-I-F. KAIF. 4 letters. In Arabic it's 3. KAIF. Which means how. Number 1. If you want to have a good interview with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day, number 1, K, know what's right and what's wrong. If you're going through life and you don't know what you should be or should not be doing, what do you know? You're just like aiming in the dark. You're just like shooting in the dark clouds. Know what's right and what's wrong. Know what halal and haram is. And if you doubt something, maybe it's better to just leave it. It's not worth it. Anyways, it's not worth it. Those immigrants, put them down because of not worth it. So, that's the K. Know what's right and what's wrong. A, accountability. I'm going to circle back on this one, but accountability is crucial, especially in today's day and age, more so than ever before. We live in such a fast-paced world where we're just chasing the next thing. We never take a minute to think, was that right? Should I have really done that? Could I have done it in a better way? I don't know. That's how we're living in such a fast-paced world. You're running from the train to work, and from work to the office, from the other. It's just you're running around, and they call it a rat race, but it is true. It is a rat race. We have no sense of balance, and balance is needed if we're going to be holding ourselves accountable. We'll circle back around the on the accountability. K, know what's right and what's wrong. A, accountability. I, improvement. Say you know what's right and what's wrong. You did something that's wrong. You held yourself accountable. You said, oh, that was wrong. You wake up the next day, you do it again, SubhanAllah, they say, the idiot is the one who does the exact same thing expecting a different reward or a different outcome. And if I knock on the door and no one knows, and I knock on the door again, and keep in mind, this is a door with no house behind it. I'm just knocking again. Do I expect a different outcome? No. If I'm doing X, I'm going to get Y. If I keep doing X, I'm going to keep getting Y. So, you need to improve. If you did something wrong, stop doing the wrong thing. If you did something good, well, alhamdulillah, you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you improve, you build on that. You don't just stay stagnant. Okay, know what's right and what's wrong. A, accountability. I, improvement. If it's wrong, you stop it. If it's good, improve it. And F, ask for forgiveness. Constantly ask for forgiveness. We always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, and here's the cherry on top. Inna 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives all sins. All of them. You go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you tell me, Ya Allah, I'm so sorry, I did this wrong, and now you ask of you, please forgive me, Ya Rabbal Alameen. What do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do? He will forgive you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive all sins. You guys know the story of the man who killed 99 people and then he topped it off with 100? Allah forgave him. You think He's not going to forgive you? One of the biggest ploys of Shaitan, he makes you think that you are so doomed, Allah's not going to forgive you. In fact, the name Iblis, the name of Shaitan, Iblis, means the hopeless. The one who makes you lose hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's wrong. That's what Iblis wants. Don't lose hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how big or how small your sins are, no matter how many or how few, Allah can forgive them. Allah could forgive all your sins. All you got to do is just ask. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if Bani Adam did not sin, I would have replaced you guys with a whole different people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to ask for forgiveness. He knows you're going to sin. It's like saying someone knows you're coming. You're just going to sit there and wait. Like Allah knows you're going to sin. He just simply wants you to come ask for forgiveness and he's like, forgive him. SubhanAllah, today, first odd night, Aisha radiallahu anha came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and she said, Ya Rasulullah, if I know tonight is Laylatul Qadr, what should I do? And he said something beautiful. He said, Ya Aisha, say, Allahumma innaka afuun kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Oh Allah, you are the pardoner and the most generous. You love to pardon. Pardon is forgiveness, but on a whole different level, by the way. I'm going to elaborate. Allah, you are the pardoner. You're the pardoner and the most generous. You love to pardon. Please pardon us. That's the dua we should be making for the rest of the 10 nights, inshallah. Ask for forgiveness. It's the perfect time. It's always the right time to ask for forgiveness. So, SubhanAllah, I was talking to someone just recently, and I was telling them about that interview with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how, like, you're talking to Allah, the whole crowd is watching, and the whole thing. And they said, SubhanAllah, forgiveness on that day, in that interview, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take someone, and then he will think like a curtain, like this. The curtain just goes around, so no one can see what's happening between this person and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you did this, right? You say yes. You did this, yes. Why? You did this, right? Yes, 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 yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, He sees you answering all these things, and then He says, I'm forgiving all of them. Just when you think, I'm doomed, Allah forgives all of that. That's forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want to know what al-afu, pardoning, is? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't even bring it up. He doesn't let you relish in that regret. No. He doesn't even bring it up. Never happened. That's pardoning. That's the dua we should be making, inshallah, out of these 10 nights. Allahumma innaka afuun kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Say Ameen. Ameen. Cool. So, K-A-I-F. Know what's right and what's wrong. Hold yourself accountable. I, constantly improve. F, ask for forgiveness. Now's the perfect time. The dua is, Allahumma innaka afuun kareem tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Now, on that high note, we just went over how to have a good interview throughout life. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you so much, and He wants you to succeed so much, He has already given you these things. Let's run through the cave. Okay, know what's right and what's wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already pre-programmed every single one of us to know what's right and what's wrong. You already know what's right and what's wrong. Your fitrah, your internal programming, knows what's right and what's wrong. Stealing, bad. Lying, bad. Donation, charity, good. We know these things. It's not rocket science. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the same way He told a cat how to meow and purr, taught you what's right and what's wrong. You guys might have connected. I love cats. The same way, their animal instinct, I call it fitrah. They have a fitrah and we have a fitrah. Our fitrah tells us exactly what's right and what's wrong and how to live life. Their fitrah, how to climb a tree, how to scratch, how to clean, cool. But Allah already told you, He gave you the blueprint. It's programmed inside of us. You just gotta listen. Sometimes it takes a step back. Like, is that really right? I don't feel good with that. Simple as that. And when in doubt, go ask someone. Go ask the sheikh, go ask your mom, go ask someone you know who's of knowledge. It's fine. Okay? We're going to talk about the accountability. The I, improvement. Islam literally lays out the roadmap. You want to constantly improve? Oh, here's the rubric. You did this, you can now do that, and you can do that, and you can do that, you can do that. You pray praise Allah, great, praise Allah, great, praise Allah. Okay, cool. Maybe now try 2 rakats on top. You know, oh, that's good. Now make it 2 more rakats. Okay, cool. Now you can make it safa. All right, great, back to safa. Constant improvement. The roadmap is laid out. Wallahi, no thinking on your behalf needed. Just Simon says, I'm going to do thoughts about you. The blueprint is right there. And then the forgiveness, Allah is waiting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala literally comes down to the lowest sky, the lowest heaven, and He's like, anybody? Anybody wants forgiveness? Like, I'm right here. He's coming to your door to forgive you. So what's your excuse for not asking for forgiveness? اللهم انك عفو كريم وتحب العفو فاعف عنا يا رب العالمين. Cool. Allah also loves you so much. Allah, this point blew me away. Remember when you went for that interview and you were talking to the boss on the other side and they were asking about your work experience and your education and your hobbies and your weakness of overworking? Cool, great. Imagine if that interviewer, before you even came to the interview, went around the entire company. Guys, 𝗵𝗲 is joining us. 𝗵𝗲 is coming. Everybody be on your best behavior. Corner office has 𝗵𝗲's name on top. Beautiful, laid out, with a hot espresso just how you like it. That's literally your office, and you haven't even interviewed. That's how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. Allah literally has your slice of Jannah right there, waiting for you, already written. That's your name right there. All you gotta do is show up for the interview. Not mess up, please. And if you mess up, it's fine. Ask for forgiveness. I got you. That's how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. He already, the malaika know. That's for 𝗵𝗲, that's for Sohaib. Got it. We're just waiting for 𝗵𝗲 and Sohaib to show up. And if along the way, they scrape their knee, or they stub their toe, or they do a sin here, or they do a sin there, Al-Afu is waiting for you. Just to forgive you. Just ask. That's how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. That's how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to succeed, man. So, I said I was going to talk about accountability. And I'm no fool. Wallahi, I'm no fool when it comes to accountability. And I will tell you, it is not easy. But of the 4, the 𝗧𝗵𝗲, that's the one you really need to work on. The other ones are, they're laid out for you. But the accountability is on us. Remember, no one will answer your questions on that day. Wallahi, no one will answer the questions on that day but you. You'll be on an island by yourself, with everyone watching. So, accountability is tough. Accountability takes some brutal honesty. Because we have this thing inside of us called ego. This ego thing likes to always be right. Shut up, we have it more. We're going to hold ourselves accountable later. Cool? And so, subhanAllah, what's amazing about this this accountability thing is that brutal honesty is needed, and it's constant work. See, life is nothing but a series of decisions. And the minute you die, you have no more decisions to make. The decisions that are past, Allah, that's behind you. You can't do anything about them. But every single decision in life is a unit of life, a unit of time. That's how I see it. And so when you come up on something, you need to hold yourself accountable in that moment. What's the right thing to do? And actively choose to do it. And then after it's said and done, hold yourself accountable retrospectively and say, did I do the right thing? Now that I've gotten smarter, more experienced, did I do the right thing, yes or no? That's accountability. It's asking yourself, could I have done this better? Did I do this well? Did I harm anyone? Let me think about it from a different angle. Let me think about it from her shoes. Let me think about it from his shoes. Did I do it right or did I do it wrong? Could I have gone about it better? That's accountability. And accountability, subhanAllah, if you master it, wallahi, we call it EQ, we call it emotional intelligence, it is absolutely true. If you're able to hold yourself accountable, it'll be much easier when other people try to hold you accountable, because you already did it. You did it to yourself. You checked yourself before others checked you. Sometimes we hear that marriage is tough. And one of the reasons why everyone says marriage is tough is because you live with someone who will hold you accountable 24/7. And if you don't hold yourself accountable, you now are listening to this person holding you accountable, and you're going to feel like they're attacking you. You could have just avoided that and held yourself accountable and tried to do the right thing. And then if you realize you weren't doing the right thing, improve. Ask for forgiveness. That's all. So, some of the pros of accountability, though, and this is one of the reasons why I really want to stress the accountability. Again, our specifically America, 21st century, we lack it so much. Because it's all about me. We're not thinking about, hey, I'm living with other people. What are other people feeling? Did I hurt someone? Could I have done this better? We're just thinking me. We're feeding our nafs. We're feeding our Western individualism. Okay? Some of the pros of accountability, so you guys can look forward to this. Less mistakes. If you hold yourself accountable and you do this often, you'll naturally make less mistakes. Because you're thinking before you're doing something. And then you're thinking after you do something. So naturally you'll make less mistakes, therefore, less accountability from people. People will not be holding you accountable, inshallah. More emotional maturity. You'll become a better spouse. Your attraction, subhanAllah, this won't surprise you. Psychologically speaking, if you don't hold yourself accountable and you don't check yourself often and you're constantly improving, your spouse may actually lose attraction to you. It goes both ways. And so the reason why is because subhanAllah, it's so built within us, this life, this dunya that we live, is meant for us to keep pushing ourselves and going further and further and further. The minute we just become complacent and stagnant, subhanAllah, like we just lose attraction. And then the fifth one is, you'll become a better parent. Sometimes, subhanAllah, parents don't want to be held accountable. How dare you tell me what? You're still wet behind the ears. You were born yesterday. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 I've heard it all. Alhamdulillah. Love my parents. Don't worry. But accountability, though, the parents who don't hold themselves accountable sometimes are harder to deal with. And for the people who have parents who can't be held accountable or hold themselves accountable, may Allah subhanahu please, make it easier on you and give you patience. But your role is to be patient and lead by perfection and lead by example. That's the best form of da'wah. And then when you have kids, inshallah, you also hold yourself accountable and you lead by example. Inshallah. Now, accountability isn't just with marriage. It's not just your spouse. It's not just your children. Accountability is on all relationships you have in your life. And in Islam, there's three major components. There's three relationships. There's the relationship I have with myself. There's the relationship I have with people. And then there's the relationship I have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the three relationships. However, you need to always remember, ultimately, I am responsible for only what I do. Individualism in Islam. I will answer for myself. No one will step in. The people will step in for me. No one will step in. I need to answer. Now, even though I am responsible, you can't and you shouldn't live by yourself on an island. You don't isolate. That's not from us. We don't isolate. We're not isolation religion. We're not one of those monks who lives in the mountains of China and doesn't see humanity for 7 years and ends up on a YouTube video. That's not us. We live with the people. The Prophet ﷺ says, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗚𝗿𝗲 the believer who actually intermingles with the people, who deals with the people, وَيَصْبِرْ عَلَى أَذَاهُمْ and is patient when dealing with them. It might get frustrating sometimes. Tensions, emotions, feelings, things happen, mistakes. We're all human. We will probably frustrate other people, and other people will probably frustrate us. It goes both ways. But the Prophet ﷺ says, وَيَصْبِرْ عَلَى أَذَاهُمْ. Be patient on their harm is better than the believer who doesn't do that. So, you want to be the best believer, you want to have the best interview, inshallah, smooth sailing. خَالِطُ النَّاسِ. Intermingle with the people, deal with them, don't let them drive you away. It will get frustrating sometimes. Fine. Remember, you're also frustrating them too. We're not flawless. Just because we're here and they may not be, doesn't mean we're better than anyone. We're just as frustrating. That's my siblings. We are the worst. It happens. So, you cannot live without other people. And so, I mentioned my family. Let me tell you about my brother right now. I have a younger brother who, if you see, does not look younger than me. Omar and I bicker. We bicker a lot. Or we used to. We used to bicker a lot. And just for the record, I was right and he was wrong, always. But Omar and I would bicker, and Baba would bring us over, after he beats us like a little bit, and he would tell us a story. And in the story, there's this guy who was on his deathbed, and he had 10 sons, because every Arabic story has like 10 sons. And so he brings all the 10 sons, and he's like, I'm about to die. Go into the yard, come back with a twig. You know what a twig is, right? You guys still touch grass? Cool. Then, all 10 of them go, and he come back with a twig. And then he tells the strongest one, he's like, you, break the twig. And he breaks the twig, no problem. Now he tells him to take all the 9 remaining twigs and break them, strong guy. Strong guy cannot break all 9 twigs. And then the hikmah. The hikmah is good, but the story is, I like it. The hikmah is, power is in numbers. You need to stay unified. If the 10 of you brothers are always together, you can't be broken. But you alone will be picked off easily. So Bob was telling me and Allah look at each other. We're just 2 twigs. It's not working now. It's not hitting. Alhamdulillah. But subhanAllah, power is in numbers and strength is in numbers. Allah Ta'ala says, Yadullah ma'al-jama'ah. The hand of Allah symbolically is with the jama'ah, with the group. Allah puts the barakah, puts the strength, puts the unity, puts the mahabbah, puts the mawaddah, puts the tawfiq, the success, everything good, He puts it with the jama'ah. And so you should strive to do that. Because not only will you be a better believer, and you will also taught how to have a better interview and a bigger slice in Jannah, but your life will also be easier. Sometimes we'll get frustrated, or we keep going back to that point. We will also get frustrated, and we will frustrate others. We're not flawless. But, if I were to go out there into the world and do something, it's not the same when everyone in this room is all working together and working on the same thing towards the same goal. Much different results. Remember the 1 to 2 to 4 to 8? Think about it. Okay? So, our deen is the perfect balance. The perfect in everything. It draws the perfect balance between jama'ah and individualism. Ultimately, you are responsible. You will be the one to answer on that day, in that interview, by yourself. No one will answer for you. But you should also deal with people and deal with them in a good way, and that will help boost you, inshallah ta'ala, and grant you a better interview. Okay? Alhamdulillah. One way, and I like to think about the relationships in life, is a tree. If you think about a tree, you have roots, you have stems, you have branches. Great. The roots are your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The stronger your roots with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the stronger the stem, the trunk. Think big fat trunk, big roots in the ground. But you need to have solid roots rooted in Islam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have strong roots and a good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your relationship with yourself will be much better. I'm talking self-esteem, self-confidence, self-talk, mental health, all that stuff. It's rooted in a strong relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's reflected in your relationship with yourself. When you have a good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have a strong trunk, and you have a good relationship with yourself, then the tree can have many branches. It could withstand many branches. And the branches are your relationships with people. And if you're a tree and you're solid in the ground, you have a strong trunk, you have many branches, that, inshallah, will be a very fruitful tree. Everyone follows? But you need to start at the core. You need to start with your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then your relationship with yourself will get worked out. And your relationship with others will flourish. And your life in general will become very fruitful. SubhanAllah. That is our relationships with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with ourselves, and with people, inshallah. Now, let's connect it up because we're wrapping up soon, inshallah. So, you and I, every one of us, will interview alone. No one will interview with us or for us. We will interview alone. But we can't live alone, because if we live alone, we're going to be one twig and we're going to be easily broken. And so we need to live with people and we need to deal with people because our deen is all about the jama'ah. But then it might get frustrating. Okay? And so I want to interview better. The way to interview better and have better relationships with the jama'ah, with the people, is to develop your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So get better with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything else, if done right and sincerely, will fall in line. Promise. Come and find me. Promise you that. So, how can we get better with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? 𝗧𝗵𝗲. K, know what's right and what's wrong. A, hold yourself accountable and do it often. SubhanAllah, I'm from Brooklyn, by the way. Better than Queens. But, alhamdulillah, let's not go over here. In Brooklyn, we used to say this thing. We were like 4th and 5th grade, like little. We used to walk around thinking we were tough. Like, bro, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Right? And we thought like that was the meanest line in college. Like, mic drop. And so, we used to say that. But subhanAllah, as you grow older, you think to yourself, it's check yourself before you get checked. Allah will one day check you. Your spouse may one day check you. Your boss may one day check you. But if you check yourself first and you hold yourself accountable, inshallah ta'ala, that will be so much easier. So much. So don't postpone the hurt. The hurt just builds up. It gets worse. So hold yourself accountable. Show that and build that emotional maturity. And then become better with everyone around you, inshallah ta'ala. So, okay, know what's right and what's wrong. Okay, hold yourself accountable. I constantly improve and strive for greatness. My mentor loves to tell me, the opposite of greatness is good. There's great, and the opposite of that is good. Don't fall for good. Just go for great. Strive for greatness. I promise you, strive for greatness. Let's pursue ihsan. Let's pursue excellence in everything we do. And then F, ask for forgiveness often. We're in the perfect time. Allahumma innaka a'fu kareem tuhibbul 'afwa fa'fu 'anna. Say ameen. I'm going to leave you guys with 3 hacks. 3 life hacks. And these 3 life hacks, inshallah, will help you get better in your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first of them, hang around good people. Just hang around them. Keep bugging them. And follow them around. I do this to my shifts and to my mentors and to everyone around me, and they're like, oh, what? We don't know. But he follows us everywhere like a pitch. And I'm fine with that, you know? But you hang around good people, and the Prophet ﷺ says, good companionship is like that of the guy who sells musk versus the guy who's a blacksmith. Blacksmith, I don't even know if it exists today, but blacksmith is a guy who sits there and pounds the iron over the fire, puts the sword back in. Apparently that shop smells really bad. Like the smell of burning coal and iron and all that stuff smells really bad. If you hang around in that blacksmith shop, best believe you will start smelling like ash and coal and burning fire and all the stuff you don't want to smell like. But if you hang around by the person who sells musk, the perfume section of Macy's, let's call it, right? You best believe you're going to, just passive diffusion, you're going to catch some of that. You're going to walk out smelling like $1,000,000. And so that's the analogy the Prophet ﷺ draws. If you hang around good people, you're just going to catch some of that whiff. And if you hang around bad people, without you trying, you're going to catch some of that bad sense. So hang around good people. Without you knowing, inshallah, things will just start to, you'll pick up a good habit here. You'll see, oh my gosh, they don't do that. You know, I like that. I'm going to take that from them. So hang around good people. That's life hack number 1. Life hack number 2. Shaitan loves this trick. I call it devil psychology. Devil psychology, tip number 1. Shaitan will always, there's a time where Shaitan will tell you don't do it. Right? Like if you want to get up and pray, he'll tell you don't do it. He might actually tell you, hey, no, you're too tired, you're lazy, it's too cold, no. Okay. There's another time where Shaitan will actually push you to good. I'll tell you. Right before Ramadan started, a lot of us were like, I'm going to make this amazing plan. I'm going to read 7 juz a day. I'm going to lead Tawweeh in the masjid. I'm going to fast all day, every day. I'm not going to sleep the head all night. MashaAllah, I'm going to donate all the money I don't have. Everything, the most lofty goals in Ramadan, people came up with. And part of that is Shaitan's devil psychology. He actually pushes you to do more, knowing you're going to burn out and crash. And so don't do that. Focus on the exponential growth. Focus on 1, and then go to 2, and then slowly go to 4. Shway. Take it very easily. Take it very slow. Focus on one thing. Pick just one thing you want to work on. And then get good at it. And when you get good at it, inshallah ta'ala, then you can level up. But don't bite off more than you can chew. Shaitan wants you to choke and stop eating. Don't do that. So pick one thing. Hang around with people, and pick one thing. And then the third thing, get yourself an accountability partner. Get yourself an accountability partner. What's an accountability partner? It's someone you go to and you tell them, hey, I love you because I did it. I want to start going to the gym every single day. And you will hold me accountable. If I don't go to the gym, you have the right to steal my snacks. I don't know. Come up with something. That's an accountability partner. Someone you tell them, hey, this is what I want to do, and I want your help doing it with me or keeping me in check. SubhanAllah, statistics show over 60% completion just when you tell someone, hey, I want you to be my accountability partner. Science is not the one who came up with that. The Prophet ﷺ way back told us to do that. So, find yourself an accountability partner. Hang around good people and work on one thing at a time. One thing. Please don't bite off more than you can chew. Please. I want to tie the accountability partner and hanging around good people. I want to tie that in with something I learned a while back. It's that time of year where you go to a park and SubhanAllah, there's Canadian geese everywhere. You know what the Canadian geese are? Check out, look up, like Canadian geese. Canadian? Canada. Canadian geese. I go. So the Canadian geese. SubhanAllah, if you look up at them and you see how they fly in a V formation. When they fly in a V formation, they're able to go 70% further distance. So if Anna, Canada goose, the habit I'm flying, I can go for 10 miles. But if I fly in a V formation, I'm able to go 17 miles. You have a lot right now. Write that down. So, we're wrapping up inshallah. Bad news, Ramadan is ending. That's the bad news. Ramadan is ending. We have less than 10 days left. And every single year, SubhanAllah, oh man, flies by. It's like they're beaches on them. No, they fly by. And then we're like, oh, I got you next year. I got you all the love. And then the next year comes around and guess what? Whoa, it was just getting good. The vibes are just getting, okay, alhamdulillah. That's the bad news. But the good news is, now is the absolute perfect time. Wallahi, now is the perfect time. Wallahi, now is the perfect time. For you to walk in. You have 9 more days, lock in. And not just lock in for Ramadan, lock in for life. Remember that you have an interview ahead of you. It doesn't end on Eid. It doesn't end then. Your life goes on. You have decisions to make. You have actions to take. You have questions to answer for. So, it doesn't end there. Keep going. But lock in today. Have an honest conversation, heart to heart, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say, Ya Allah, I know I haven't been the greatest. And Ya Allah, I am human. I will make mistakes. Not that I want to, but I have made many mistakes in the past too. I ask you, Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please forgive me. Allahumma innaka 𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗚𝗿𝗲 Please pardon me, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Have that heart to heart with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only person who you could do something wrong against, and He doesn't want you to run away from Him. When we were young and bad, 7 years old, I would do something wrong, and I would run home and see Baba. Baba's going to be the one to discipline me, and I would just run the other way. Just run to your room and hide under the bed. Yeah, but I'm sleeping, Baba. Don't bother me. Right? Run away from Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to run to Him. The mercy, the forgiveness, the love is unmatched. And we can't even comprehend it. So, have a heart to heart with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tell me, Allah, today is the day I genuinely want to turn things around, Ya Allah. I want to start taking actions and I want to start making the right decisions. I want to make the right call with that interview in mind. Ya Allah, please, I ask of you, please just forgive me for the things I've done and the things I may do in the future. Not that I want to do them, but if I do, please forgive me, Ya Allah. And help me, Ya Allah, in making the right decisions and making the right calls when I'm faced with 2 options. Have that heart to heart today. Today's the perfect time, I promise you. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till you go home and you wake up for Fajr. Do it today. A heart to heart with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now's the perfect time. Remember, life is one decision. You are nothing but one individual. Life is one decision. You are one individual. And you're responsible for one interview. You and only you will answer to that interview. SubhanAllah, I want to tie it all back in now. We started this lecture by talking about the problems of the Ummah and where we are and where we were and the possible solutions that are proposed to us by people. And I want to share a story with you guys as to how we can implement these Ummah-wide solutions, how we can really change things and make things for the better. SubhanAllah, there's this guy, and for some reason, it's a Sunday, and he has his child, and he's watching his child for Sunday. His wife, let's say, is at the house. And so this guy is a Giants fan. He's a football fan, and he wants to watch the Giants lose. Okay? He just wants to watch the football game on Sunday. And so he figures, listen, every time I turn on the TV, my son comes around and he's like, whoa, I want to play. Cool. Well, I want to distract him because I want to watch my game. What do? So he sees a magazine right next to him. So he takes the magazine and he rips it up into really small pieces. Just a newspaper magazine. He rips it up into really small pieces. He gives it to his son. He's like, look, Bob, what's a puzzle? Go. See you in 3 hours. The father thought he did something, right? He was like, I just bought myself 3 hours. He's never going to figure out this newspaper magazine. I'm going to watch my game and I'm going to be happy. Best Sunday ever. Kid comes back 5 minutes later. That big jump, father's back going crazy. What's going on here? And he's like, look, Baba, I put it all together. I put the whole thing together. And he's like, how did you put the whole magazine together? And he was like, sorry, the magazine was a picture of a globe, a picture of a world. Okay? And so the son, after he puts together this picture of the globe, he's like, look, Baba, I put it all together. And the father says, how did you do it? And he says, well, Baba, on the back side of that globe, there's a picture of a man. So I put together the man, the world came together. So you fix the man, you fix the world. You fix the man, you fix the world. So start with yourself, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خير for having me, and I ask may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this Ramadan truly transformative one. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us all to take from this Ramadan things that we will carry for the rest of our lives, and perspectives shifted and changed for the better, Ya Rabbil Alameen, and outcomes exponentially better, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.